Okay, so I'm finally getting to the point where I can start thinking about putting the keyboard and carriage in the machine, and I thought I'd kind of go over a little bit how the keyboard system works and how it ultimately gets the numbers into the carriage. And everyone's kind of familiar with the modern electronic calculators with their 9 key, actually 10 key, I guess. We can count 0. Keyboard, and of course that's so simple. It's just you map it in with basically you push a button and it pulls an array that pins that go from left to right, up, down, and the microprocessor determines that which button you pushed, and it puts that into the buffer of the processor and so forth. Pretty simple these days, I guess. It's easy enough to say that. That was obviously a lot of work to get to that point. These keys, when I first saw these things, I thought, wow, talk about elaborate and clunky. But in reality, if you want to do it mechanically, this is actually a pretty elegant approach. And I just assumed that there was a different keying mechanism for the keys, that somehow each of these keys were had a unique pattern to them, but they don't have they're all exactly identical. And there's basically 2 fingers, and they're shaped a little differently. This guy has more of a, let's see if I can get one that's obscured by another mechanism here. Oh, I did a 0. That's a 0, by the way. It has a shallow finger here and a much more sweeped finger here, and they're all exactly identical. And then those fingers will engage in a series of plates that pivot. I'll show you that next. So the calculator here has these plates that pivot, and they're exactly identical. There's a bunch of left ones that are exactly identical, and the right ones are exactly identical, and they move, as you can see, these gears that have this little spring between them, and the gears themselves are split in 2, and they mesh when they're brought together. What's interesting about this design is those shallow fingers on the keys. There's nothing for them to press on the first 4, and then the next 5, I guess in this case, there's just a simple flat plate. And it's kind of interesting they even cut these slots out. I don't think they even needed to do that. What's interesting about this side is it's the same pattern repeated twice. You got this finger here that's basically not bent. Well, I guess he is bent a little bit. He's a shallow bend. Okay. And then this guy is bent a little further, a little further, a little further, and then there's no finger here at all. And then the same bend as here, same bend is here, same bend is here, and then same bend is there. So with that, you get this encoding pattern here of a little bend, nothing, a little more bend, nothing, still more bend, nothing, most bend, nothing. Now you have nothing on this side, a flat plate, the same bend as it was down here, basically repeat it over again, so a little bit more bend, flat plate, a little more bend, flat plate, the most bend, flat plate. And that once again goes with the fingers here. Always keep everything in focus here. The guy on the left has the most shallow sweep to it, and the guy on the right has the deepest curved sweep to it. And those will engage in various points at those bent plates. And of course this one doesn't have to worry about anything but that one simple bend on that plate. So with that, you now control, in kind of a sort of digital way, if you want to talk about 4 units and that repeat over again on one side, and a pattern that repeats only after a certain point on the other side, and then one unique combo that in between that shifts these gears a distinct repeatable amount. And what amazes me is that you can align everything enough to hope to make this work. The tolerances are they're kind of loose, and at the same time it's amazing it works. So if I move, so I gotta see all this stuff too. If I move in and push the first button, number 1, it right now with no buttons in, it would nothing engages. You push the first button, and it'll move it by that amount because it's the plate that has the least bend on it. And that one little bend will cause that gear to move once. Now if you push the next button, the first button will pop back up and the second button will push down, and that finger engages the next bent plate, and it pushes it 2 over. And then we push the third button, number 3. Number 2 of course pops up, and it pushes in on that bent plate, and we get, let's see, actually over here, right? I'm over here. 1, 2. Get it right here. I get my alignment right. Yeah, I think I hit 3. It's really, it's kind of tight on this side. The left side, they had a lot more gear than you needed to make. This one's about as tight as you can get. 2, 3. Okay, and then you hit number 4, and that's the most bent-in one of the first series. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you do the 5th button, and the 5th button has that unique pattern that where we don't have this cut. This guy is cut out completely altogether. There's no finger there, but there's this finger's there for the first time, and that's the first time that this guy moves the left gear. So now we have this left gear, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that pattern on the right side repeats again. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the right hand guide in there. Now it's, as you might imagine, go to the next key, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I get it lined up right here. 6, 7. And then we press the guy again, and we'll get, ooh, I shifted him over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course, if we get the last one, they're all pushed in together. And I keep my count there. I'm sure that was 9. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so there we go. And then now the next guy, these guys then engage the carriage gears. Left one side. If we look at the carriage, you probably saw it earlier in the cleaning video. It looks like I could still wipe down those numbers a little bit more. Those gears that were moved by the split gears now engage these guys. I don't know if I can realistic. Okay, so I have the carriage in for the first time since I've owned this guy, and let's see if I can move this stuff around without my fingers blocking everything. But what I really want to demonstrate is that the split gears, when they move, will now move the intermediary gears, and then the gear that's on the carriage rotates. Very clumsy of me, but I'm moving it. That's pretty neat. Moving along here. And I'm practicing this before. I've seen actually a carry occur, so let's see if I can turn this guy enough here without wrecking everybody. I think I might have something lying poorly. There we go. Oh, I think I had a carry just then. Keep adding 5s. I don't know, maybe I just had a carry over there. I think I had a carry. to the other side. I'm just trying to keep this guy aligned, so I'm having a hard time focusing on what's going on here. There, I had a carry again. Oh, that's really neat. I have no idea what's on the carriage. It just happens to be whatever happens to be on there last time. So I rotate this around enough times, I should see. There, I think. I saw. There we go. I think I saw a carry occurred again. There. Yeah. Well, it happens so quick. It's really hard to. I'm trying to keep this gear lined up, and I don't get the chance to look slightly to the left to see the other guy doing his thing. There. Oh wow. It's some ways down past where I've turned it past. Well, these guys aren't engaged anymore when that happens, and obviously it's another gear mechanism that's working somebody else. Some point I should. There. It's about ready to do it. And there. It did a carry. Oh, and it did a carry for the next guy. Oh, and I did several other carries. This is very entertaining. This is kind of where the payoff for all this work is. That was fun to see. Hopefully it showed up in the camera. Okay, so here's the best view I can possibly do of being able to play with the split gear in my hand and get to see a number change. I think I also had carry just then. So here is the number 5 being entered again. There's number 5 entered again, and it looks like I'm getting on a bunch of carries to the right there. There's another carry. 5 again. Carry. And then I'm also getting a counter doing its thing. So that's pretty fun. There we go. Okay, using a alligator clip arrangement, I have once again hopefully the number 5 is going to get entered here, and I'm going to do that now with the actual control mechanism, and it worked. It worked. It worked. The subtraction's still a little rough. So far. That's really neat. Okay, so far I'm getting that to work. Next I'll put the keyboard in, and to put it in I have to take the carriage off. It's just easier this way, and then put the keyboard in. And then from there we'll look underneath the thing and see what it looks like from underneath the keyboard. Okay, so here's a view from the very front of the machine with it tilted up, trying to look at the key underneath the keyboard and these bars that will move the split gears into their position. And as you might imagine, it looks a bit like the jaws of a shark or something like that, doesn't it? So here I am at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column over from the right, and here's the 0. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's really hard, of course, get it to focus such a distance away. It was such a macro setting, but let me see if I can slide it over. It's kind of challenging to see that left bar very well. 4, I think there's at 5. I think it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Or yeah, 0, 9. Okay, I think I was off. But it's really quite an ingenious system. And it's, as you might imagine, it's very difficult to get enough light in here to actually see anything and find a good focal point. The camera doesn't like the shiny metal and everything. Hopefully this is coming out pretty good. I find it certainly entertaining. It's fascinating how snappy and precise that all is. I'll go down, I guess, a count here, just kind of see what it looks like in that direction, I guess. So anyways, there you go. It's how these keys work from this angle. You can see how each of those fingers will shift somebody. And it kind of goes back to the whole thing of, you know, 0 will basically make certain that nothing gets entered. That split gear is actually, the split gear is centered between the intermediate gear, whether the 0 is there or not, of course. The 0 just makes it nobody else is down. And once again, 1 is that shortest bend and nothing to the left. Slightly greater bend, nothing to the left. A little bit more of a bend, nothing to the left. The most bend on the right, nothing to the left. And then now that sequence kind of completely changes. There's nothing on the right. It's the first plate on the left. And then we repeat that shallow bend left. Now we have the plate to the right. More of a bend with the plate to the left. More of a bend, plate to the left. More bend, plate to the left. I guess that's 9. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that, and it certainly does look like a bunch of sharp teeth, doesn't it?